Namaste. Welcome. Let us begin our time together this morning with a brief meditation. If you will focus your attention at the sun center, the point between your eyes, and turn your head to the left with a double exhalation. Bring the head back to the center. And now take 3 long, deep breaths. Continuing to focus your attention at the sun center and keeping the eyes closed at this moment. O Great Spirit, saints and sages of all times, of all places, O ye pathmakers of old, Namaste. O ye powers that be in all realms, Namaste. Sweep clear our paths. Bring healing to us at all levels of our beings. May our minds be clear. May our bodies be clear. May we receive that which we need most. May we share today our meditative energies. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Do you remember Hogen, the great Zen master? Perhaps you do, perhaps you don't. There was a Zen master named Hogen, and he had a zendo, and it was out of the way, but along the path of the pilgrimage. And every once in a while, he would get visitors, which was nice, you know. So one evening, 4 travelers showed up, 4 people on a pilgrimage, 4 monks, if you will, on a pilgrimage. And they sat around the fire in his courtyard. And there was a big, 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 big boulder in the middle of the courtyard. And Hogen had built a nice garden around the boulder. So they sat in front of the fire and they could see this big, big, big boulder reflected, the shadow of the boulder reflected in the fire. And they started talking about objectivity and subjectivity. Was life subjective or was life objective? They began to discuss among themselves. Like the disciple who said that everything was subjective, and the guru who said, go out in the middle of the sidewalk, the highway, and tell me if that's true. They discussed and they discussed and they discussed. Now Hogen listened, and he said, well, is that boulder subjective to you? And one of the pilgrims said, well, that boulder only exists in my mind. According to the mystics, that boulder only exists in my mind. It does not exist externally to me. And Hogen says, your mind must be very, very, very heavy if it is carrying that boulder with it at all times. What boulders are you carrying in your mind? What boulders have you been carrying around in your mind? Not for today, not for yesterday, but for all of the days of the last year, or the last 2 years, or the last 5 years, or the last 10 years. What boulders of hurt, what boulders of anger, what boulders of emotionality have you been carrying in your mind? Or are you carrying today in your mind? Only you can answer this for you. But this is the question today. What boulders are you carrying in your mind? Now, what boulders have you been sitting on and adding your mud to? What boulders have you been sitting on and adding the gluiness of the emotional mind to as you have sat on them, as you have noodled over them, as you have paid attention to them, as you have thought about them again and again and again? What boulders have you grown with your hurt over something that happened 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 10 years ago? The hurt that you're still carrying from 10 years ago. Today, our Dharma talk is about hope and forgiveness. The mystical teachings say that when we come to the end of our lives, what one wants the most is hope. Hope that this life has been worthwhile. Hope that there will be an ease to the suffering that may have been occurring, to the pain that may have been occurring, to the difficulties that may have been occurring. And forgiveness for whatever it is that we have done, or for whatever it is that someone has done to us. Now, at the end of one's life, it's not always possible to make restitution directly to a person in person, but it is possible to go internally and to ask for their forgiveness, or to go internally and grant them your forgiveness. But you shouldn't wait. You should not wait to have hope until the end of your life. You should not wait to forgive until the end of your life. And so, reflecting on how best to be of help today, I was reflecting upon hope. And if we take the first sound, the vak, the ha, the h, and we say, what can that mean that would be helpful to us? Well, make that H help and say, where in my life can I get help? Now, here's the problem. Oftentimes, and particularly if you live in America, there's an idea that you have to do it yourself. You always have to do it yourself. I think if you have the good, excellent karma to be born elsewhere, sometimes there's a greater ability to realize that asking for help is all right. But ask yourself today, at this moment, as you leave this meditation and you think about the boulders in your mind, or you think about the problem areas in your mind, you ask yourself, who can be of help to you? What people can be of help to you? All the good karmas in your life come through people. All the benefits in your life come through people. They come because you have earned them, but they precipitate in your life through people, through your interactions, through the events that happen, through the engagements that happen with other people. The doctor who heals you, the nurse who helps you when you're not well, the neighbor who's kind to you. People also can be harmful to our overall well-being. Now, there's a great principle that says that you become like that which you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with strong, healthy, wise souls, and you will become strong, healthy, and wise. Surround yourself with sick souls, with souls who are imbalanced, with souls who are living their life in a way that is not congruent to greater happiness. And this is how you will become. Look at the people that you've surrounded yourselves with. Who are your friends? Who are your benefactors? Who are those who have helped you and can help you in your life? So the first part of hope is to get help and to be willing to accept that help. This is not the easiest thing, particularly if you're a Capricorn. It's hard to be able to say, yes, I need help and I will accept help. It's not the easiest. But to unfold spiritually, this is what we must do. Certainly, my guru has been and remains a great help to me for going on 5 decades now. And it is through the blessing of the lineage, the blessing of the teaching, that I have found and recognized my own internal obstacles to asking for help. And so I would say to you, if you see and feel resistance, say, maybe I don't really want the help. Maybe I'm too proud for the help, but I'm going to ask for it anyway. And I'm going to accept it when it comes. And I'm going to accept it how it comes. Now, the second part of hope, remember we're talking about hope, and the first is help. The second part is optimism. You need to find a way to stay optimistic about your life, optimistic about life. Discouragement is a great spiritual obstacle, and one that needs to be watched for. It needs to be addressed. You need to find ways to become more and more optimistic about your path, about your spiritual life, about what is important to you. And my beloved, I think you hear me saying to you week after week, I keep saying, what's important to you? What's important in your spiritual life? Not in everybody else's, not in the world. First, it has to begin with you. It must begin with you paying attention to how you are living your life, paying attention to the thoughts that are rising in this mind, in your mind, in my mind. I can be of no help to you. You can be of no help to yourself. I can be of no help to myself if I'm not paying attention to the thoughts that are rising in my mind. And if I allow those thoughts to be consumed by what everybody else is doing. Now, I know some of you will say, well, I have to pay attention. I need to be acting in a way that's going to help everyone. Shelley Ji and Pranananda Ji, my guru and param guru, would say, you can help no one if you don't help yourself first. There must first be energy to help yourself and then help others. So how do you become optimistic? Well, start with nature. There's a couple of really wonderful websites, if you have access to the computer or to the internet, that are about birds. It's amazing the beautiful birds around the world. In India, my gosh, India has the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful birds. I saw a bird yesterday, a photo of a bird that the bird was green here and pink here and had magenta feet. It was just the most beautiful form of life. Look at the birds. Look at the animals. Look at the trees. Now look at the flowers, the daffodils that are coming forth, the bluebells that are coming out, the tulips, the green, the little green leaves coming out on the trees, the blossoming magnolias. And feel optimism for life, for the cycles of life. I looked out earlier this week, and the hostas are coming out in the garden. And, 2 weeks ago, they were like this, just little tiny peeking out from the ground. And then they grew, and then they grew, and now they're, this big. They haven't unfurled yet, but they will in time. And that can make you optimistic, recognizing that, the summer is going to come soon. The weather is going to be more beautiful here soon. Read books. Watch documentaries or films that will make you feel and see the goodness of life so that you can maintain your enthusiasm for life, your optimism that you can improve your life. Look for people to surround yourself with that have achieved that which you wish. They seem peaceful. They seem hopeful. They seem upbeat to you. Now, the next part of this word, hope, it's a P. And you can make this stand for persistence. 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 Sri Shelley Ji left us with a marvelous formula. Intensity times duration equals force. I times D equals F. A great obstacle that we face in life, all of us, some more than others, some more so than others, is a failure to recognize that you have to put a certain amount of effort into something over a certain amount of time in order to achieve that which you wish to achieve. Today, when you can flip the channel or swipe one way or the other, up or down or right or left, and distract the mind and move from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness very, very, very rapidly. I can be in Norway in this moment, and I can be in Antarctica the next moment, or in Australia in the nanosecond after that, or in Chicago after that. Now, this is confusing to the mind because the mind sees enough of this and says, oh, I should be able to, just like that, change this change this, change the reality in which I live. It's true, you can. You can change your state of consciousness in a nanosecond. However, to sustain that change and to have it truly affect the boulder that's in your mind takes more effort. And so, you look at, and I think, great inspiration can come from looking at, and great optimism and hope can come from looking at those souls who are engaged in a pursuit that takes time and effort. For me, it's musicians. I'm very fortunate. My husband is a musician, and I hear and see every day the amount of persistence it takes to be able to master the instrument that he plays, the amount of study it takes, the amount of consistent over and over and over again practice. And sometimes he'll practice and he's playing the same section of music repeatedly over and over and over until he masters that section. And if you don't happen to be married to a musician, or you're not a musician yourself, look at someone who you find something that you realize takes time to master. And look at the persistence that it takes. Look at your own life. Think about when you were learning to read, when you were learning to speak. I looked at a video the other day of our great niece, and she was just 4 months old, 5 months old at the time, and she was trying to speak. And you could see that her tongue was not going up and down. Her tongue was turned, and she could not make words, but she was trying very, very hard to mimic what people were saying to her. And I had the thought at that time, how hard it is to learn to speak, to learn to take the so subtle concepts that arise in the mind and translate them into a form of sound that you, I hope, understand what I'm trying to communicate. And we don't always get can't always understand what the other one is trying to communicate. Persistence, persistence, persistence. You need persistence. And then the last thing in hope is to have equanimity, to realize that whatever manifests in my life, whatever karma manifests in my life, it may not be what I prefer. And I tell you, it sometimes is not what I prefer. But you and I, we need to cultivate equanimity. The acceptance that this is the situation at this time. And in order to wisely and timely make changes, those changes must be done the right time, the right way. They must be made the right time, the right way. And so equanimity is vital. Now, we began by talking about how hope is the key to your unfolding. Hope is the key to acceptance. it's a story of a person who has gone along in their life, and they made a friend, and that friend was not healthy for them. But instead of being able to leave that friend, the aura of that friend enveloped them. And they began to follow the same harmful patterns as their friend. Stayed out too late, drank too much, had too many drugs. Their mind began to waver. They became sick. They became ill. They became mentally unstable. And one day they woke up hungover and feeling miserable, and realized that they should be doing something. Yeah, you've got a couple of things you can do. You want to improve the situation, you can try to push all those things that have happened away. Vow that you're going to do better. Get up, I'm going to do better. But habit of the mind, habit of the body is strong. And so it is important to be able to accept where you are at this moment in life, what your karma is at this moment, rather than longing for what the past was or longing for the future, but to be able to accept. Now, this does not mean to become discouraged. It does not mean to say that you don't want change. It means that you see the boulders and you're willing to do something to neutralize the boulders, to dissolve the boulders away, to make the change that is necessary to be made. Some of you know this story. Many, many decades ago, I smoked cigarettes. Like many of the Kriya yogis, you'll find that at some point we did that in our lives. And I needed to do something so that I would not continue that. I wanted to do something so I would not continue that. I didn't want to struggle. So the question is, how do I communicate with my mind? What can I do? What's the Kriya that I could do at that time that would neutralize this? So it was two parts. First part was to take the last pack of cigarettes. Here. Let's just say it's a little giha, but, and I stopped by a temple where there was a beautiful Kuan Yin. There's a temple to Kuan Yin, a beautiful, beautiful Buddhist temple up in Canada, where I was going. And took the last pack of cigarettes. And everybody else had laid in front of the Kuan Yin. There were flowers and there were fruit. There was flowers. There were all kinds of beautiful offerings to Kuan Yin. So I went and did my practice and laid the pack of cigarettes, offered it to her. Yeah, this may or may not work for you, but it worked for me. Now, in some traditions, offering tobacco is a sacred offering. And I looked at this as a sacred offering. And I said, here, please accept this. And then I drove 25 miles out on a peninsula on dirt road, camping, to make sure that I would not be tempted to go back to buy cigarettes. Now, which of those two things really worked? You could say, well, was it the 25 miles out? And I would say, not really. What really worked for my personality, this is what I'm trying to say to you, for my personality, what really worked was making the offering to the beautiful Kuan Yin. By doing that, by saying, I am not going to take this anymore. This is for you. It shifted completely within me, the energy. And so what one is looking for, what you are looking for is an action, a Kriya that you can take that is not going to fight what you're trying to change, but is going to transform it, transmute it, so that the energy is still, it's not the same as it was before. So you're not pushing. You're not trying to lift this boulder up and throw it away, but rather it is being dissolved away and lifted for you by the divine, lifted for you so that you are no longer carrying it. And so accept your life where it is at this moment. Reflect, which we will do in a moment, on where you are at this moment. And reflect upon who and what you need to forgive. We cannot forget forgiveness. Forgiveness is a necessary part of life. But see, mystically, when you forgive another person, or you ask their forgiveness, even if you don't go to them, but you do it, most importantly, is to ask their forgiveness in ritualistic form where you're meditating. When you do that, you free yourself. You are demagnetizing yourself from the karma. You are lifting the boulder from your mind. You are giving yourself hope. You are giving yourself hope to live your life freely without the boulders of anger, of hatred, of disappointment, of hurt. We've all had it, We've all had experiences. We could sit around the campfire and tell the experiences of the hurts we've had. Well, this is not the way. Sit around the campfire and tell the experiences of the joy, the bliss, the goodness that you've had, and turn inward and free yourself of the hurts that you have had. Now, it is never too late to ask for forgiveness. It is never too late to grant forgiveness. Never. Do not imprison yourself. I say to you, do not imprison yourself by holding on to the hurts of the past. Do not imprison yourself even further by feeding those hurts of the past. Use the great tool of forgiveness to free yourself. Take the thorn out of your mind. Take the thorn out of your hands, out of your arms, out of your body. Take the thorns that you are placing in your body and step back and free yourself. I know that there are many, many things going on in the world today. Depending upon where you live, you may find them wonderful, you may find them horrid. But there is also great joy, great beauty, great bliss in this garden of God. And thus I say to you, find that. Draw that into your life. Feed that. Feed that goodness and be blessed. And so we will spend the rest of our time together in a meditation. And I'm going to ask you to do some deep reflecting this morning. Offer you the opportunity to do some deep reflecting this morning. To dissolve away some of the boulders, or perhaps one boulder, just one boulder. But before you do that, I'm going to ask that you just accept yourself. Accept where you are, who you are, what you have become. To see yourself clearly as you are able, to see all of your goodness, to let go of the self-criticism and just accept who and what you are, who and what you have become. And then to dissolve and transform one of the gluey boulders that is resided in your mind. You may say to me, well, I have forgiven everyone. I don't have anybody left to forgive. And I would say, that's wonderful. Are you sure? Are you sure? Is there anyone that you have to ask the forgiveness of? No, no, no. Yeah, are you sure? Remember, everything that you think, everything that you speak, everything that you do affects not only this, but all other souls. You are good. You are good. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of spending your life finding enlightenment, finding your own joy, finding that bliss and sharing it with others. You are entitled to do that, not to harm life, not to harm others, but to pay attention to how you're living your life, the thoughts that are rising, not here, but here. Not balanced, but imbalanced. You know, this way. Yeah, nah, it is this way. And so I'm going to turn to the altar and ask you to look at the altar or to focus your mind at the sun center and to look there. And remember, you know, the four monks visiting Hogan, arguing, was it external or internal? Was it subjective or objective? The stone is there, the boulder is there objectively. You may say to me, well, I have this big problem and it is here objectively. It's there in the reality. And what that means mystically is that it has manifested. It's gone from your thoughts to your words. It's manifested in a physical form. But for that physical form to dissolve, first, you must have the intent, the desire, and then transform the thinking, and then the physical will transform itself. So let us share this time together. Namaste. Focus your attention at the sun center. the point between your eyes. And turn your head to the left, exhaling twice. Bring the head back to the center. Begin to watch the breath. On the next inhalation of the breath, pull the energy from the limbs of the body to the trunk of the body. From the trunk of the body, pull the energy to the spinal column. Again, using the sipping breath from the base of the spine, pull the energy up to the sun center. Now move that energy as a golden ball of light out in front of you, about 3 feet, and sweep around to the left, behind you, to the right, and in front of you, encasing your entire being in a golden light. Do this 3 times. Expand that golden light. Now in your mind's eye, ascend out of the room that you are in, above the room, above the house. Ascend as high as you are able to the high place. And find yourself in a meditative place that you can comfortably rest. Focus your attention at the sun center. Most beloved Ishta Devata, most beloved form of the divine that I attune to most intimately. Call upon your form of the divine that you attune to most intimately. O ye powers that be, sweep clear our path. May we have that which we need most at this time. O ye powers that be, sweep clear our path, that we might have that which we need most at this time. O ye powers that be, sweep clear our path, that we might have that which we need most at this time. In your meditative place, in front of you appears a magical mirror. It is the mirror of your mind. This magical mirror will show you that which is important for you to see at this moment in time. At this moment. In your mind's eye, see yourself sitting in meditation in this place. Take a deep breath and let go of the breath. The mirror reflects back to you your goodness. The mirror reflects back to you your kindness. The mirror reflects back to you your creativity. The mirror of your mind. Watch closely at the movie pictures which come, those whom you have helped through sharing the teachings or your wisdom. Allow the mirror to show you the impact of your smile or your kind word. Allow the mirror to show you what a difference your listening made. Allow the mirror to show you the hundreds of thousands of good things you have done in this life. Allow the mirror to show you the difference that you have made to life. Allow yourself to see how your most beloved loved ones see you, what a difference you have made to their lives. Feeling this Ananda, accept it. And now as you look at the mirror, be aware that there may be a boulder that you see, some thought form, some hurt, some experience with another person, situation, a thing. Just simply see it. Not all of them, just one. Just the one. Seeing the boulder, of emotionality, the boulder of hurt, the boulder of strong emotions. Ask yourself if you are ready to let go of it. And if you are, allow yourself to sit in meditation and see the boulder and see the healing cloud come towards you, that beautiful cloud carrying the water of life, the water of healing, that rainbow colored cloud coming towards you, dissipating away, pouring upon you and upon this boulder, healing light, healing water light that dissolves away the gluey stickiness, that dissolves away the heaviness. Feel that waterfall of light pouring upon your crown center. Let you and the mirror merge into one. As the boulder dissolves away, it is no longer within you. Om Namo 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 Namo. Namo 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 Namo. Let the healing light transform and transmute the boulder. As it lifts from your mind, let it merge with the light. Become the light. You feel the boulder of your emotion, the problem, lifting, lifting and transforming. And if you look in your mind's eye and it feels uncomfortable, let it be filled with light. Drawing forth the person who is tied to this emotional boulder. In your mind's eye, say unto them, or whispering aloud, I forgive you. I forgive you for everything you have done in thought, in word, in deed, to hurt me, to offend me. I forgive you. May the hurt be healed. May the karmas be dissolved. May the hurt be healed. May the karmas be dissolved. May the hurt be healed. May the karmas be dissolved. Seeing them in your mind's eye, say again, please forgive me for everything I have done in thought, in word, in deed, to hurt you, to offend you. Please forgive me for everything I have done in thought, in word, in deed, to hurt you, to offend you. Please forgive me for everything I have done in thought, in word, in deed, to hurt you, to offend you. Please forgive me. May the hurt be healed. May the karma be dissolved. May the hurt be healed. May the karma be dissolved. Feel the hurt healed, the karma dissolved. Om. Padme Hum. 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 May this healing, this lifting of this one piece of difficult karma prime your pump, that you may know, that you may see, that you can relieve and ease the boulders in your mind, that you may have hope. Accept where you are, but know that there is help available for you. There are people who will help you. You can become ever more optimistic. Life is cyclical. You are blessed, and have equanimity. Be thou blessed. Thou art blessed. Thou art blessed. Feel those blessings. Allow them to come to you and share them with others. Namaste. Namaskar. Shanti. Shanti. Shanti.